another sunny day. Welcome back everybody. I am just heading out in the sun for a quick break. It's actually like mid-afternoon now on Monday. I've been pitching like mad this morning because I'm determined that I'm going to get results for all my clients this week, but one in particular that's been on my mind last week, over the weekend. I wrote down loads of ideas because that always makes you feel better when you feel like you've got, ideas, you've got hope, you've got something to work with. So I did that over the weekend and I cannot wait because this week I am bringing all the good vibes that we are going to get some results that we want. So I've been doing that this morning. I've been on a call this morning. I was meant to have a call with a client, but he forgot and went camper van shopping. That tells you what kind of life he's got. He's cracked at that guy. And yeah, basically, I'm just out getting a bit of fresh air right now. I've got a phone call to make on my way to run my errands as well, so I'm going to do that. But stay tuned because this is going to be really valuable. A lot of people think that they would like more media coverage, but they don't know how to do it. So I'm going to share the 3 ways that I get media coverage for my clients. Okay, so how do we get featured in the media? Well, my clients across quite a few years have been featured in pretty much every UK national media, local media, like sector-specific publications, printed and online, because there are a lot of online publications these days that cover tons of different topics and subjects. And basically there's like 3 different categories that my media outreach kind of falls into. And these are the 3 ways that I've managed to get my clients really, really good media exposure for themselves, their businesses in the last few years. So the first way is by telling their story. People love to hear a human story. So the journey is of interest to people, how you went from A to B and all the things that happened in the meantime. If there's something quirky that's happened in your life, if there's something different about your life, even if it's like something that you've created, even if you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning because that's what you prefer, that is of interest because it's different to what other people do. I had a client once who told me that he had 33 bank accounts and that's how he managed his money, and I was like, this is a media story for sure, because how many other people do you know that have got 33 bank accounts? And he genuinely does that. Like, that's how he manages his money. In fact, I think it's up to like 36 now. And so because of that, I pitched it to a journalist. I knew it would be a story because it's the kind of thing that people want to talk about. It's the kind of thing that's going to get people's attention. And what you have to remember is the media are looking for stories that get people talking, that generate discussion, that generate debate, and human stories and stories about people's lives can be really, really sort of powerful for that. So that's the first way, telling your story. Now, of course, not everybody's comfortable telling their personal story. And you can tell your business story if it's got some nice, quirky, emotive milestones and things along the way, but not everyone's comfortable sharing their personal story and their private life with the media, which is totally understandable, and you can still generate media coverage for your business without having to do that. So that brings me on to the second way, which is basically sharing your lessons. Sharing like some examples of things that you've learned along the way that can help others on their journey as well. So almost like a blog style, or here's how to avoid the biggest mistake that, most public speakers make, or here's how to, save money as a small business owner. These types of things, like 3 ways to, save money on your family's meals this week. It depends what your obviously your area of expertise is, but these are really like knowledge-based articles that help people. People are interested to know them. Again, they've got to be interesting, they've got to be things that people will be like keen to hear about, because it might, A, they're interesting, and B, it might actually help them on their own journeys. So you want to be talking about things like that help people, that are based on your knowledge and your experience and lessons that you've learned along the way. And the third way to get media coverage is to give your opinion. This is a great one because the media love people that give opinions. Polarised opinions are great because obviously it generates like two sides to a debate, which they love. As a business person, it also is really helpful because it positions you as someone who's bold and dynamic and not afraid to give your opinion, and someone who, you know, shows up as like an authority in your space. So never be afraid to give your opinion. What is happening in your like sector at the moment that needs to be spoken about? What is not being said right now that you think needs to be talked about? These are really good questions to ask yourself. You can agree with something that's happening and explain why, or you can disagree. And the great thing about that is that you then attract your tribe. You attract the people that agree with your viewpoint and think you're right, and you repel the people who don't. And that's a really, really good thing in business, because you want to attract the people who are your people, because they're the ones that are going to buy, and the people who disagree with everything you say are never going to buy from you anyway. So let's just focus on the ones that, you know, that do, and how we can sift them out by sharing our opinion. And that's a really, really good way of doing that. So yeah, sharing your opinion. I'm going to pop some of examples up of different media. We've got national media coverage that my clients have had. We've got local media coverage. We've got coverage of, you know, where they've been telling their stories, where they have shared some knowledge, like I just said there, where they have given their opinion. So the three ways that I'm talking about: sharing your story, sharing your knowledge, and giving your opinion. If you can do that, even do one of them, you're well on your way to getting some nice media coverage, which enhances your credibility, your reputation, and your authority, and helps you build your business going forward. So I'm sitting in my car. It's a glorious day. I'm about to do the school pickup, and I am going to go a nice walk because it's honestly beautiful. I don't even know why I've got this jumper on. I'm absolutely boiling. I'm about to strip down to my t-shirt and head out for a walk, but I just wanted to talk about something that's really, really important when you run your own business. And also, I find in PR, sales, like life, when you want something to happen so badly and you're trying, you know, what you think are the things that will help that happen, and you know, it's dealing with those feelings and it's emotional stability when things feel rough, and not like just giving up because it's not working, and not also giving yourself too much of a hard time. Like, it's, as a PR, it's the worst feeling to be pitching something out and feeling confident that it's a good story or a good angle or a good, you know, guest fit for a podcast, and not getting anything back. It's that horrible, like, being left hanging feeling, and thinking, you know, is this going to happen? Am I doing the right things? It leads you to question yourself, and you have to, number one, think it's not the end of the world. You know, life still goes on. Even if this thing doesn't happen that I really, really want to happen for this client, you know, life goes on, and whatever will come, and we'll deal with it. And the second thing is, you have to try and not let it affect your identity and your confidence, because just because this thing hasn't worked so far doesn't mean that you're rubbish at what you do. It doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean anything that materially affects your identity. And if anything, obviously everyone says we learn more from our failures than we do from our wins, but yeah, it's a chance to learn from the things that don't go how you want them to go. And there's 101 reasons in life, in PR, in business, in sales, whatever it might be, that things don't happen just exactly how you want to happen, because you're relying on other people to say yes. You're relying on other people to make a call on things. So I just feel like, you know, I'm having one of those spells where it's tough to keep pushing on because I'm not seeing the results that I want for certain clients, but I've been here before many times, and I know that the worst thing I can do is A, think that it's my fault and I'm not good at what I do, and B, just like be affected in a sort of roller coaster type way and have my emotions up and down and up and down, because it clouds your sort of creative thinking, it clouds your ideas. So hope that helps for anyone who's like experiencing that, you know, this week. If you're going through that right now, then it's normal and it's fine and you'll handle it, and it doesn't mean that you're not good at what you do. It's just not happening for whatever reason right now, and keep going. And yeah, a great skill in business is to be able to just pick yourself back up and keep going, and that's what I always try and do. Ooh, this is where I'm spending a little bit of time on my Thursday afternoon. I'll show you my view, which is pretty nice. So yeah, that's one of the things I love about being self-employed, is just being able to close the laptop or take the laptop somewhere, which I quite often do as well, and just go and work from somewhere different. And that's what I've always wanted to do. That's why I wanted a business that was very lean, that was basically just me, that didn't have a specific location that I needed to be in. And I obviously don't take as much advantage as I could of that. I could be travelling around the world and working from a laptop loads, but even in small ways it feels good to do that. It feels like liberating, you get a bit of freedom, and yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I absolutely love about it. So yeah, I've brought my phone, I've got some social media stuff to do, and it's just a good chance to do it in a nicer environment than just sitting in my office at home. So I'm going to get on with that. I'm going to enjoy this sunshine because it's probably going to go away over the next few days, and feeling good, feeling glad to be self-employed on days like this. Oh, right, Friday again, and it's about lunchtime, 1:30, and I'm just doing a little bit of a roundup for the week. This is where I always struggle to actually remember what's happened in the week, but it has been a bit of a frustrating week again with one particular client who we've, as I've mentioned, been really trying to get media for, and I feel like we've, you know, put as much work in as we could. We'll see what happens. But we did have a good podcast result for that client, which has made me feel a bit better. Good podcast results this week for a couple of different clients, in terms of getting them booked on, in terms of ones that have been recorded this week. A podcast came out with one of my clients featured. What else has been happening this week? I have submitted an article for a national newspaper in Scotland on behalf of one of my clients that they accepted. I've been doing tons and tons of pitching. This last couple of weeks has just been pretty much non-stop pitching, because it feels like things are a wee bit slow, and the only thing to do is just like keep that flow of pitches going out, because that's the only way that you like almost keep things moving and things start to come back in if you send things out, if you know what I mean. So that's how I look at it. So lots and lots of pitching for lots of clients. Yeah, it's been frustrating in some ways, but you know, as with every week, it's had its good points as well. So yeah, trying to just get a few things finished up this afternoon. I've got some more outreach to do on behalf of a client who started with me last week. I've done a bit of pitching for her last week. I've done some more this week to podcasts mainly. This afternoon I'm going to pitch out to some industry magazines for her, and publications that she could potentially write an article for. So that's the plan for this afternoon. I need to do some editing as well on this video, so I'll be getting that done this afternoon, and then yes, we're going to be into the weekend already. Got a busy weekend planned, going a bit of a road trip with my little one, so I'm looking forward to it. It's a bank holiday weekend, but I will probably work on Monday because next week is looking quite busy, and yeah, I just feel like I've got a few things I could do with getting done while everyone else is off and while it's quite quiet. I've always liked working bank holidays. Even in my corporate job, if the office was open, I would usually just work the day because you got so much done because the phone didn't ring, everybody else was off, and it was just a good chance to have some quiet time to get stuff done. So I'll be doing that. And yeah, hope this video has been of use in some way, and I shall be back again with the next one. So yeah, if you are enjoying these videos, if you're finding them useful in any tiny way or interesting in any small way, then do give it a like and come and subscribe to the channel. I am still just learning. I'm starting off, you know, with my YouTube life, I guess you could say, in terms of doing these vlogs, and yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. So for the people who are listening, thank you so much, watching, I mean, and yeah, do subscribe if you would like to follow along, because it's, you know what, they're going to get better, I promise.